Hi, and welcome to the AllieStamps.com video tutorial library. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do some faux stitching with the Mat Pack and Paper Piercing tool. And the reason that I have chosen to show this video tutorial right now is because Stampin' Up! Has placed on my online clearance rack in my online store the Crafter's Toolkit. And the Crafter's Toolkit is a $40 product that we used to carry. It has retired, and now it is available in the online store for just $15.95. It is an absolute amazing value. I can't believe they're offering it for so low. And I just adore the Crafter's Toolkit. I love having this nice little case with lots of pockets. You've got your pockets in the front that you can store things. And then it opens up and you've got another pocket here that is empty and available for use. You can put refill cutting blades, you can put your hobby blade, all of that kind of stuff. You've got a hammer and all of your eyelet setting tools for setting eyelets. You've got some pliers and tweezers and some needles. My needles, I have misplaced. My needles are no longer in here, but you do get needles. And then you get the paper piercing tool and the Mat Pack. Now, the paper piercing tool and the Mat Pack is what we're going to be using today for the faux stitching. And you can purchase these things individually. However, the Mat Pack is $9.95 and the paper piercing tool is $3.50. So it's going to be about $14 to purchase these two items, plus shipping and tax. But because this Crafter's Toolkit is in the online store, you're paying just about almost $2 more to get this entire thing right now. So I'm actually heading over to the online store myself and picking up a couple more of these because I think these kits are wonderful. For faux stitching, this is a hard Mat Pack, and you're going to put that down first. And then you have a spongy foam mat, and that's going to go on next. And then you're going to take a piece of cardstock. That's going to go on top of there, and then we have our grid for stitching. And the first stitch that I'm going to show you is just a regular stitch, and I'm going to take, there is a black line across the top of this grid, and I'm going to line that up with the edge of my paper. I'm going to take my paper piercing tool, and I'm just going to pierce through. And I'm just doing the top row, and this paper piercing tool is just kind of acting like a sewing machine. And I'm going to go straight across, like so. Then you could leave it like that if you just want it to be stitched, but you can take your white gel pen and go through and just connect the dots. And the white gel pen looks like thread. So you've got that faux stitch look. So that's one stitch. You can also do a zigzag stitch. And the way that you'll do that, line up that the grid again. I'm lining up the black line with my paper. The way you're going to do this is by poking the first hole and then going diagonal across to the next one. And then diagonal again, diagonal again. And you're just going to do that diagonal stitch. Like so. And then with your white gel pen, you'll just connect all of those dots at a diagonal. And then you have a zigzag stitch. And you can do this across the paper. You can also do it so that you're straddling the stitch between two pieces of cardstock. So to do it that way, you would have another piece of cardstock that you would be putting on like so. So say you've got two colors here. Then what I can do is I can take that piece of cardstock, and rather than lining up the paper with that line, I'm going to straddle this first set of two holes over the line where there's a seam, so that the line of where the two pieces connect goes right through the middle. And it is a little bit of eyeballing, but it's pretty easy to figure out. And then I'm still going to just do that every other. So poke my hole, go diagonal, poke it, go diagonal, poke it. So it's the exact same stitch that I just showed you. And then connect them with your white gel pen as thread. It looks like you're actually stitching those two pieces of cardstock together. You can even use this to pierce in circles. And the way that you would do that, so here's a circle. Say I want to do faux stitching around this circle. I'll just stick my circle onto the cardstock, and I'm going to line up a hole. So this is my second row here. I'm going to line up just anywhere on the circle. I'm going to line up a hole, the second hole down, with the edge of the circle. And I'm going to pierce one above it. Then while I have left this piercer in that second hole, I am going to pivot my grid down so that I'm going to be doing every other spacing. So I have this circle, this pierced grid right here. I've pierced directly above it. Now what I want is to line up, skip a space, and line up this next one. So I'm going to pivot that circle down. And the reason this is still in is so that the grid doesn't go anywhere. You just want to pivot it. And then I can skip a hole and do the next one. And again, while that's still in, I'm going to skip a hole, pivot this next one down. Pivot, pierce, pivot, pierce, pivot, pierce, pivot, pierce, pivot, pierce. And then you can see how I am getting an evenly spaced circle around. And you could do that to just pierce a circle, do piercing around a circle if you want that look. You can again connect the dots with a white gel pen if you want it to actually be stitched. You could also put on this circle with some dado so that it's removable, and just use this punch as a grid and then take it away. It's gonna tear because this is snail, but if I use dado, I could peel that away and just have a pierced circle if I want to just pierce circle designs on my card. One other stitch that I will show you is, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, and somebody out there, I'm sure most of you watching this will be able to tell what it is once I'm done. You can tell I'm not a seamstress. So I am going to line up the black line again with the top of this cardstock, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did the first time. I'm just going to poke in a line. But what's going to make this stitch different is how I connect the dots. And so I'm going to use the edge of this grid as a ruler and do a straight line across the top of the cardstock there. And then I'm going to take my white gel pen and I'm going to blanket stitch. It came to me. I think this is called a blanket stitch. If I'm wrong, somebody will have to correct me later. But I'm just connecting all of those at a diagonal going toward the corner, and you can touch up this top line a little bit if you find that it's not quite as opaque as you want it to. You can go back in with your white gel pen and make it a little bit heavier. And then you've got what I believe is called a blanket stitch around the edge of your cardstock, and you could do that the whole way down. So those are some fun different things that you can do with the mat pack and the paper piercing tool. And again, you can buy those individually. The mat pack is $9.95. The paper piercing tool is $3.50. But if you go to my online store at allystamps.com, click order now in the upper right hand corner, then click shop now. That'll take you to the online shopping, and click on click clearance, the clearance store. And in the clearance store you can purchase this entire thing. It's only available while supplies last for just $15.95, which is just an amazing deal. You're paying just a couple dollars more for this whole kit.